Manohar Bhat, good morning. Thank you for joining us. What's the update, Mr. Bhat, at your end? There are green shoots which are clearly visible. Do you think this time around, are we in for a good Dussehra and a Diwali? I understand that consumer queries have started, but do you see consumer queries which you are receiving translating into sales and footfalls?
Oh yes, for us at Kia, we are on a roll, if I may say so. The Sonet has done very well for us. We have got more than 31,000 bookings and counting, and we are hard pressed to actually deliver this during the festival period. So right now, my basic task is to prime my dealers to be able to handle these record numbers in October, and also my production to make sure that the customer wait period is reduced. The logistics also is one here, because we are effectively going from zero to the maximum production for the Sonet that we can do. Side by side, our first product, the Seltos, also is doing very well. So the demand is increasing actually month on month after the COVID situation. So even there, we are having a very good situation. So for us, it is a question of how much we can supply to the market and how quickly to reduce to get as many happy customers as possible during this festival season.
Could you share with us that what could be your broad September number, because now it's end of the month? I'm sure you must have got the update on the dispatch numbers. And progressively, as you ramp up your capacity, how do you see the numbers changing?
We were very, if I may say so, very quick in our reaction during last year also. Just when we launched our Seltos, we saw a huge demand for the Seltos in terms of bookings. So we immediately increased our shifts from 1 to 2. So our factory capacity is 300,000 with 3 shifts. So I think just within a month of starting first shift, we started the second shift also. And we are right now at 2 shifts. And we hope to maximize our production with this, considering the COVID situation, of course, which is impacting everyone, our factory as well as our vendors. So we hope to utilize these 2 shifts very effectively so that we can maximize both Seltos and the Sonet production and meet the demand. Like I said, we have more than 31,000 Sonet bookings and a huge number for the Seltos also. We're effectively around 1.5 month waiting at the current levels of production. So we will do, I think, record numbers this September. Just wait and watch for the exact number. When at the end of the day, we'll let you know, or rather that be a bit of suspense. But let me tell you that, yeah, it's going to be record numbers for us. We're not done, obviously, so many numbers so far. With the Sonet coming in, obviously, it is a boost for us. And we have done very well for ourselves, I would say.
Fabulous. So how does this place Kia in terms of, in terms of India versus where it's at globally, in terms of contribution, in terms of strategy? How much of a focal point will India be?
For Kia, Kia India, for Kia Motors globally, India would be roughly around, we got a 300,000 number at full capacity with 3 shifts. And overall, roughly, very, very roughly, Kia Motors is around 3 million production. So we can say when we do the full capacity, we will be around 8 or 9%, 8 to 10% of the overall Kia output as things stand. Of course, that's assuming that we don't expand in some other production facility, and also that we come to the 300,000 capacity soon. So we are actually, for the Sonet especially, we are actually a global export hub also for Kia Motors. For example, for the Sonet, we'll be exporting to almost 70 countries, 70 markets in the Middle East, Africa, Latin America, and Asia. And we hope to do at least 50,000 numbers in the coming year for the Sonet itself. And also the Seltos also we are exporting to similar markets.
Great. So, in the urban markets, I'm anticipating that that's really where the strength of those Sonet bookings are coming in from. What's the outlook when it comes to the other markets as well, the more tier 2 towns, for example? Are you also seeing more penetration there?
Yeah, the demand is actually coming from tier 1. I mean, actually for us, we got a pretty good network in the sense that we got more than 200 touch points, and we are in 160 cities throughout the country. Yes, currently we are getting good demand from the tier 2, tier 3 cities also, considering that the agri sector is doing pretty well. The village, the upcountry is doing pretty well for us, and we are very lucky, and we are very good. We got a good penetration also in these areas. Having said that, yes, my market share in the bigger cities also is very good, and it's growing as I speak, both for obviously the Sonet and the Seltos also. Actually, both the vehicles have got the fancy of the young at heart. And young at heart, well, whether in the city or our country, I think the tastes are the same. So we are seeing very good traction, especially for our top end vehicles, which are very sporty, very feature driven, feature loaded, I must say. So we got very ventilated seats, for example, in the Sonet, and a very wide 10.25-inch touchscreen. So all these all features and all the looks of the vehicle have really appealed to the customer segment in both the bigger cities as well as the upcountry.
Sure. Manohar, also wanted to understand, when we look at the compact SUV segment, clearly it's one of the most heated spaces, and I'm not just talking about Kia Motors, but as a segment per se. With a number of launches that one has seen already in the last 12 to 18 odd months, the segment itself has grown at a CAGR of about 38% over FY16 to 20. Do you expect this run rate to continue in the segment, especially at a time when people are tilting towards more entry level and pre-owned cars?
See, I would like to put things in perspective. When you say that people are tilting towards entry level cars and all that, yes, it is correct. But if you look at the overall numbers for the calendar year, that is from January till August, you'll see that there's only one segment that has actually shown growth in absolute numbers. That is the mid SUV segment, where the Seltos lies. So that's the only segment that has actually grown in numbers. Yes, the degrowth of the entry level vehicles, the smaller segment, is less than the overall industry segment, so that they increase their overall share within the auto sales, but they also degrown actually. So actually, the maximum customer interest has actually been in the compact, your mid SUV actually. So people are not. It's not like people are all gravitating towards a cheaper vehicle. It's not like that. So people actually want a good vehicle, a good in which they get a lot of value for what they are paying for. And we believe that the Sonet also, the Sonet segment also will see a lot of growth, especially with vehicles like the Sonet coming in, which offer a lot to the customer. Whatever he wants, he's getting it. Since you're talking of people moving towards a cheaper level, cheaper cars and all that, it's not strictly true again in the case of Sonet. For example, in the Sonet, large amount of the demand actually has come for the top end, which is obviously the more pricier version. It has all the features: your ventilated seats, your 10.25 touchscreen, your Bose speakers, what have you. So actually, the large amount of this one is coming from that. But people look at the technology, the features, and the overall package, and they don't still at this point of time also really hold back on that. If they like something, they think that there's value in that, they do go in for the vehicle without any hesitation here. The same thing we are seeing in the Seltos also. There's a lot of demand for the upper end vehicles. The GT line is still got a huge traction in spite of these tough times during the COVID.
Sure, point taken. So after the Sonet, what next is in the pipeline? Give us a sneak peek of the various launches that you have, or are things on the back burner now because of the COVID uncertainty?
No, more than the back burner, we also just, I think we would like to do a double check on the market and what the aspirations of the customers are. So yes, we do have, Kia Motors, globally, we got a huge portfolio. We got all the technologies, all the designs possible in terms of small hatch, sedan, SUV, small SUVs, big SUVs, the luxury vehicles. We got the entire range. It's the only question, we got to actually surf it or riches, if I may put it like that. So we only got to choose which sort of what technologies and what body shape to bring to the country. So we are also looking at it once again with the COVID. The market situation has changed slightly, but we'll do, I think, a double take with the customer and then finally come to a conclusion on what we will introduce next. Yes, possibly the market would have changed slightly because of the COVID situation. It might have been set back actually more than a change, I believe. Might have been set back by a year or two. But having said that, overall for the future, India I think is a very good market. It's a growing market with the GDP growing. Obviously, the customer buying power and the willingness to actually go in for better things in life is going to grow. So we have no doubt about it. India is a very promising market going forward. Going forward, as in the next 5 to 10 years, it should see a very good number, and it will be one of the most good markets to be in worldwide, globally also. And we believe that Kia is in a good position to dominate this also. We want to be in the top 5 players. I think we're already there. We'll try to improve our position by and by as we go.
2020 has been a terrible year and 2019 was a tough year. When do you think the 2018 levels will come for the industry? I mean, do you think now, I'm asking you, let's say, a question from a stock market audience, which is that there are two ways to look at it. One, you play for the absolute expansion of the pie, which is everybody benefits. And second, you focus on a company which is gaining market share like yours. What do you think is going to happen in the auto, especially the passenger car market? Will the pie expand back to 2018 levels, or you need to focus on companies which will gain market share?
See, I'll give you a technical reply. Automobile market demand is directly correlated to the GDP growth and the per capita GDP. This has taken a hit this year, and I'm not sure when we'll return to the 2019 levels. Maybe it'll take a year or so, because this year will be degrowing for sure. So next year's growth will just cover that. Maybe by the end of next year, next financial year, we may be back to what we were in 2019. So I would believe that the automobile market demand also, since it's directly correlated, we will not get back to 2018 levels for at least another 1.5 to 2 years. It doesn't look likely at all. So having said that, yes, but there'll still be some companies and some areas, some segments which do better than the others. Like I told you just now, the mid SUV segment is still doing fine in spite of the tough times. So there will always be certain pockets or certain companies which do better. And I would think that that will still be the case going forward also. In the tough years, in this tough time also, we are doing fairly well. Of course, being in a good position with being a new company and we've got 2 new products, obviously we are in a good position to enjoy that. And a very good, obviously, portfolio also going forward. So I would think that overall, the market is going to be tough as in degrowth this year for sure. And next year, I'm not sure how much, how much more of the overall green so we're going to see across all the segments. We might get back to the old levels. Maybe it'll take around 1.5 to 2 years at least. So maybe 2022 is when I would say.
All right, great. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. That's Kia Motors for you, sounding fairly optimistic as we head into festive season.